QuantumScape is making significant strides in developing innovative solid-state battery technology for electric vehicles and more. So where could QuantumScape stock be in 1 year? Well, that's the question I'm going to answer in this video. So jump in with me. Let's look at the details. Let's conduct some financial analysis and answer where I think QuantumScape stock could be.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, to make this stock prediction, I'm going to need some numbers from QuantumScape. And the first one of those numbers I'm going to consider is its enterprise value. Right now, QuantumScape is trading at an enterprise value of $2.208 billion. I'm going to need this to make my prediction. I'm also going to need its enterprise value to revenue ratio. And right now, the forward EV to revenue ratio for QuantumScape is 985.81, a significant ratio to be sure, but it's because QuantumScape has yet to generate revenue. This is looking at the estimate of what QuantumScape could generate in the next year, or whenever it does generate revenue, if it is able to achieve that revenue in 2024. So according to Wall Street, they don't think QuantumScape is going to generate any revenue in 2024. They don't think it's going to have a product viable for commercial distribution until 2025, when they think QuantumScape will generate $5.19 million. So that's when they think QuantumScape will be ready with its product, ready to distribute and ready to generate revenue. Of course, in recent weeks, QuantumScape got confirmation from its major investor VW that its solid-state battery technology is hitting significant milestones, making progress, demonstrating that it is advantageous for EV manufacturers to use its battery technology. Of course, that's the main sticking point, in my opinion, for the development of EVs worldwide. Right now, when you compare how long it takes to charge an EV compared to how long it takes to fill up gas in your car, that's a huge inconvenience, right? 30 minutes, 45 minutes to charge your EV, maybe longer depending on which charging technology you're using. Whereas if you go to fill up gas in your car, you're in and out in 2 or 3 minutes. So it's a huge inconvenience, especially for folks who don't have charging installed in their homes and they have to go to a charging station somewhere else to charge their vehicles. And so it's a massive inconvenience. QuantumScape could potentially help alleviate some of those concerns. Its solid-state battery technology promises to charge faster and hold a longer charge, meaning it can go longer distances before needing to be recharged. That could expand the total addressable market opportunity. It could bring more people into the EV space because that inconvenience will be lessened and the attraction for EVs could increase. So partners like VW are really hoping that QuantumScape can deliver this product and make it viable, increase manufacturing capability to deliver this in mass quantities, and thereby improve the comparative value proposition for EVs compared to internal combustion engine vehicles. So all that being said, let's consider the valuation. So if we look at its 5.19 million revenue estimate for 2025, and we look at the EV to revenue of 985, remember I got the revenue estimate from analysts on Wall Street, their consensus, and the forward EV to revenue value 985 from its current market valuation. And if that stays the same, then QuantumScape's enterprise value could rise to $5.1 billion by the end of this year, by the end of 2024. Of course, that would be a significant increase, a more than doubling of its valuation from the current enterprise value of $2.2 billion. QuantumScape is no stranger to volatile price fluctuations. As you can see, just in the last 6 months alone, its enterprise value has gone from close to $5 billion down to $1.3 billion, up back close to 3.5 billion, back down to 2.2 billion. So this is an extremely volatile stock, a high beta stock, as I like to say. It moves violently up and down. And so for QuantumScape stock to move up to that 5 billion market enterprise value, totally possible. Even though it might not be the most likely scenario, it's still a possible outcome for QuantumScape stock investors to consider. But what if its EV to revenue decreases to 750? Well, then its enterprise value could rise to 3.892 billion. If the enterprise value to revenue falls to 500, its enterprise value could rise to 2.6 billion, which would be a slight increase from where it's at today. However, it's not all positive news. If the EV to revenue falls to 250, then its enterprise value could fall to $1.297 billion. So a wide range of outcomes you see here, scenarios ranging from an EV of 5.1 billion to an EV of 1.3 billion. Now, I can eliminate, or I shouldn't say eliminate, but I will reduce the likelihood of the two extreme scenarios noted here, the 5.1 billion enterprise value scenario and the 1.3 billion enterprise value scenario. In fact, this 1.3 billion enterprise value scenario, I think, is the least likely outcome. I think 5.1 billion enterprise value is more likely than 1.3 billion enterprise value for QuantumScape, given the strides it's already achieved, given the amount of cash the company has on its balance sheet. Let me show you that right here. Cash and short-term investments. QuantumScape has $1.127 billion in cash and short-term investments on its balance sheet. So I don't suspect its enterprise value will fall near these levels again unless the company spends a lot of this cash and doesn't make very much progress and tells investors, look, we spent $400 million trying this certain technology and it didn't work out. If that is to be the case, then yeah, the stock valuation, the enterprise value could fall closer to these levels. But that seems less likely at this point, given how the company has been making good progress in demonstrating its milestones, achieving these key milestones with partners and demonstrating the effectiveness of its technology. So I don't suspect that scenario as to be very likely. So I would say the more likely scenario is an enterprise value in the middle ranges here, 3.9 billion, 2.595 billion. And to be frank, to be honest, the enterprise value of 2.2 billion right now, I think will increase over the next year. I would say it's more likely to increase rather than decrease. And if I was to say the most likely scenario, I would say an enterprise value of around 2.4 billion for QuantumScape stock by the end of this year. But I would give a wide range to that estimate because of how volatile this stock is, because of how violent the stock price movements have been for QuantumScape. I would say an enterprise value in the range of 2.3 billion to 2.7 billion is the most likely scenario for QuantumScape stock in 2024. Before I let you go, let me tell you about the greatest deal on YouTube. With just a click of a button, you can get free financial analysis from a professor with decades of investing experience. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.